Hello everybody, Karim here, ready to solve another challenge with you. Today we are going to be solving a box from Vulnlab called Earth that is rated easy by the author, but depending on your skill level, it may be considered as medium. The most important thing in solving this machine is to pay attention to details and doing recon. So let's dive in. So the first step is to scan the network to look for our target IP address. And this can be achieved using a tool called NetDiscover. So let's just type in our terminal NetDiscover. You can see I've already scanned my network previously. That's why it's pre-filling it for me. So you type in netdiscover -r and then you put your Kali Linux IP address /24, which is going to scan the whole network. So let's just do that in order to get the target IP address. So the first IP address is our target IP address. It might be different to you on your network based on the fact that we all are on different networks. So the IP address is going to be, it's going to look totally different from mine. So the next step from this, after getting the target IP address, is to go and perform an nmap scan. And for that, we're going to do nmap minus sv minus sc for custom script. We're going to scan for all ports, and then we're going to insert the IP address of our target machine, which is going to be 192 again .12, and then we're going to save the output on let's call it nmap.txt. So I have already run the nmap, and this is the result that you can see on your screen. From the nmap result, we managed to get port 22, which is SSH, which is open, port 80, which is HTTP. Basically, that means it's the web application that is running on that port, and 443 is specifically for SSL, which basically is going to help secure communication while you're communicating with the web application in general. So that's the nmap result. Now let's try and look for the most important thing. So looking at the first port, which is port 22, it cannot be of importance to us right now, simply because you don't have the credentials to log in into this port. Let's go to the next port, which is port 80. We can see it is Apache Fedora, but is running on SSL. And then we can see that it's a bad request. Going down, we can see we have port 443, which is TCP, which runs the SSL certificates and all that. And going down, we can see that there are DNSs here, which is arth.local, and then we have another DNS, which is terratest.arth.local. So let's just assume that terratest is the subdomain of arth.local. So let's go to our web browser. Before doing anything, let's insert first of all the IP address of our target machine, which is .12, and let's see what it has. So basically, as nmap had reported, it returned bad request 400. But remember, at the same time, there is port 443, which is open. So sometimes you just need to add HTTPS on your request while sending the request in order to be properly navigated to the right port in order to get better results. So let's see that. So running into HTTPS, we can see that there is a default Fedora web page, and nmap had also reported this on the result. At this point, we cannot do much. We can try and do robots.txt and see if we can get anything. Well, there's nothing there. So the next step will be based on the nmap result here that we can see. There are DNSs that were found. So the next step will be to add this DNSs on the Etsy host file, which can be seen here. I had already done it previously. So after adding this DNSs on our etsy.host file, we can go to and open to the web browser and open a new tab and see what earth.local entails. But remember, it's supposed to be on HTTPS, like that. Advance, accept the risk, and a web page is already opened after browsing into the earth.local domain. So we can see that it's a Earth secure messaging service, as it says. In here you can type in any message. You put in, let me just say, a password, and then once you save it or you send the message, it's gonna appear under the previous messages. So at this point we can't really do much. So the next step will be to enumerate further on this earth.local domain. So the next step will be, once again, check for robots.txt if there is anything. And as you can see, also in that file there is nothing. Okay, so what are we gonna do? So you have to remember there were two domain names, the earth.local, and the other one was TerraTest earth.local, the subdomain. So we're gonna do TerraTest.earth.local / let's run that. Let me see if I got the name correctly. TerraTest. Okay, let me just do without the HTTPS. Okay, so in this you just have to run the subdomain directly into port 80, and then you're going to be met with the same interface as earth.local had. So the next thing would also to try and look for any useful information that I could get. So we can check out robots.txt too and see what we can get. So unfortunately there is nothing. Let's try and do https and then do robots.txt. Yeah, so you have to keep on trying different requests. Sometimes the boxes are not stable as we want them to be, so you have to try HTTPS if the results are not intended giving the best result. Let me put it that way. So looking at the robots.txt file, we can see all the disallowed extensions, but there is one which is very interesting, this one which is at the end, which is testing notes.everything. So navigating to this file, as we've already done here, we can see that there is a message that was left behind by the developers when they were creating this secure messaging system, and it states that testing secure messaging system notes. So these are just rough notes which were used by the developers to act as some sort of checklist for them so that they don't forget anything. So the first thing that we've noticed that they managed to use XOR encryption as the algorithm, and basically that is for encrypting the message that we are sending to Earth. So that's the encryption method that was used, the XOR. And then we can see that there is another file that was used, test data.txt. Perhaps this could be a, let me say, a file which has text which was used for encryption. And then finally we can see that they're using a username called Terra for the portal. So there is a portal somewhere which we need to look for, and the username is Terra, and the only thing that is remaining is to get the password. So let's go and see what test data.txt has. So I've already run that, and we can see that it's just plain text that is put there, and perhaps this could be one of the decrypted keys for one of these messages down here, because as the file says testdata.txt, so that's just an assumption that we are making, and we're going to try it out and see if we do get the administrative page that is mentioned. Then we're going to use the credentials Terra and the password that we're going to obtain from there. The next step will be to try and perform content discovery, and we're going to use a tool called darsearch. So let's go and do darsearch, and let's just use the domain or one of the domain that was listed, which is app.local, and use the word lists of common.txt, and let's see what we're going to get from this content discovery. So immediately we can see that there's a file called admin. So let's go to app.local and look for the file admin and see what we're gonna get. So yeah, you can see it's a admin command tool. You're not logged in, please log in. So let's click login and see what we're gonna get. Yeah, so here is the place where we're supposed to insert the username, and now we're supposed to look for the password. So just ignore the autofill right there, because I had already done the box. So this is just a walkthrough. So since we already have the username Terra from our previous discovery, which was from here, the next step is to get the password. So the way we're going to do that is first of all, this was the test data which was used, so let's copy that. Let me just enlarge my screen like that, and the goal is to convert one of these encrypted messages to readable text. So that's the goal that we want to do. So I'm picking the third encrypted message because it is the one that is going to be encrypted using the key of test data.txt that we had found from our previous discoveries. So we have to copy that and insert it onto Cyber Chef like that, and then we're going to take the text that was found in test data and insert it as our key like that, and then we need to get it into UTF-8, and then let's delete this, but it needs to be from hex like that. And as you can see on my screen, we already found the clear plain text of the data that was encrypted. So as you can see here, it says Earth climate change bad for human. Earth, no, it's going to end bad for humans right over there. That is going to be our password, which you're going to use to log in into the administrative page. So let's now log in and see what's in there. So logging in to the administrative page, we can see that this is an admin command line tool, as we had previously discovered. And let's see if we are able to run commands in this page. So the simple command that we're going to run as our test is ls, which is list. We're going to run that, and we can see that you can list different files of the system in the backend. So the next step will be, since I've already done this box, initially in a lot of CTFs it is normal to find the user flag in the home directory, but in this one it's very complicated to find one. So I had to try and look in different files and see if I'm gonna get it. So I had found one interesting file, let me put it that way, in one of the files that is called the var or variable file. So let's just change directory to var and then list everything. As you can see, when you run that command, it brings you additional files that are inside the var or variable file, and one of them is earth web, which is of importance. So we're going to try to read earth web and then list it. So we're going to do change directory var earth underscore web and then list everything that's in that file. So once you run that, you can see our first flag is already there, which is user flag. So finally we're going to end with web. Let me just backtrack. I think this will do, is a flag. No, let me just run this again, because you need to get this correctly in order for this to work. Let me just run the final command. I hope this one will be it. No. So what we're gonna do is okay, I already know the reason why it's not working. So we have to cut in order to read the content. Sorry about that. So let's run the command, and here is the user flag. So this is where we're gonna end, but I'm gonna show you how you're gonna make a connection into the box itself, and then you're gonna have to proceed on your own in doing privilege escalation, etc. Because the reasons of me getting back in doing CDF was because to improve my methodologies and learn about different methodologies and improve on that. So for me, all the coming videos are gonna end up in obtaining the user flag, and it's going to be up to you to find ways on how you're gonna get the administrative flag. So what I'm gonna do is the next step will be to try and get a connection from let me say the web page into the server itself. So what we're going to do is first of all, we're going to run netcat and listen on port 1234, and then on this side we're going to run netcat bin bash. Okay, I'll have to confirm this. 192.10, yes. Bin bash -e, yeah. So when you run this initially, it's not going to do anything because remote connections are forbidden, as you can see here on the web application. So we cannot do that. So the solution that I had gotten based on my research was to first of all convert this string into base 64, the command rather, sorry, convert the command into base 64 string, and then you're going to get that. And then what you're going to do is just give me a second, take this whole let me say base 64 string, and then you insert it here. I'm just gonna explain in a moment what this part does. So basically you are telling the, let me say, the server to display this string into base 64 and decode the string, right? So it's gonna decode it, and then the bash at the end, it's gonna run whatever command that you've given it as bash. So that's gonna help us get a remote connection into our machine. So let's get back to here. I hope the demo gods don't destroy this. So let me just run, and as you can see, we've already gotten a remote connection. Let's try ls. Yeah, we're already into the server. So yeah, thank you guys. That's how you are supposed to solve this box, and that's how you're supposed to get a connection into the server for you to do a privilege escalation into the root.